see. Have faith of a mustard seed.
Welcome to another segment of the Drexel Seymour Show. Today my guest is Mrs. Petula Henfield. And, she's a very outspoken person. And she's going to be talking today about a number of issues that are facing us here in the Turks and Caicos Islands. And it's not just Turks and Caicos, it's probably issues throughout the world. A lot of us, some of us are not saying anything about it. We remain quiet, and issues continue. And I believe that, we should have the freedom to speak out on these issues, because otherwise these issues will continue to go on forever and ever, and nothing is being done about it. And so I want you to enjoy this video. I hope this video encourages you to speak up. I hope the person's watching this video, that their mindset has changed, and those who are in a position of authority to make a change, that hopefully a change will take place. And a change will take place if we continue to speak up. Trust me, a change will take place. A change will not take place if you remain quiet. And with that said, I want to welcome Petula. This is her first time on the Drexel Seymour Show. Of course, she's been on Financially Speaking, talking about customer service, but this is her first time on the Drexel Seymour Show. With that said, I want to welcome you to the Drexel Seymour Show.
Thank you. I think I contacted you so that we could do this show, simply because I'm just over it. I'm just over the level of privilege that is allowed to individuals that are not Turks and Caicos Islanders, who are welcome to our shores to do business, but they're not doing good business. They're not doing clean business, and they're not doing business that benefit the indigenous people of Turks and Caicos. And that, for me, poses an issue on every level. So
let's elaborate on that now. I know as we go through, we'll talk about it, but
absolutely.
Talk more about when you say it's not benefiting. Let's talk about that.
Well, in most countries, when a company decides that they want to open a business on an island or in a country on a whole, there are things that are in their contractual agreement where they're responsible to give something back of substance to the community or to the environment, to the youth or to the elderly. And I'm just not seeing it.
Even if it's not a contractual obligation, I always feel that whoever in this country, they have a business, they come here to live, even us as locals have a business. I always feel that we should contribute to the community.
Absolutely.
And after all, you are making it in Turks and Caicos.
Absolutely.
And if you're making it in Turks and Caicos, you should do something to help the people of this country.
I agree, but especially if you came from somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's
because if you were having success where you were and it was so great and wonderful, you would have stayed there. You came here for a better life, just like we go other places for a better life. And when you do that and you get that, then there should be some reward for the country to see your success. Absolutely. Not just your pockets.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you an example. Bahama in the Bahamas.
Mm-hmm.
When Bahama was being built, they had an obligation to, I think, build a stadium of some sort. They did that before they built the hotel. We need schools to be, built.
Maintained. Mm-hmm. And maintained.
Clinics to be built and maintained.
Sports facilities.
There are so many needs here.
We need youth centers.
I was talking to a lady the other day. Many parks. We have no community centers like throughout the smaller islands and so forth. There's a lot of needs here. And it should not be only, on the government. However, somebody has to be responsible to make these people responsible to put those things in place. Recently, I've been involved with for the last 4 seasons of a show that's been taped here. It's very popular, Too Hot to Handle. It's all over. As a matter of fact, this season, I think, as long as it does well, we'll move on to another 5 seasons of that show. 4 out of the 5 seasons were taped here in Turks and Caicos. If you watch the show, you'd never know it was taped in Turks and Caicos.
Why is that?
There's no brand recognition. There's no mention of Turks and Caicos.
Really?
There's none of our local beers were used, even though they were drinking the entire time on the show. No local bathing suit company. Peachy is a local bathing suit company. They're in bathing suits almost the entire show. What benefit is it to Turks and Caicos Islanders that these companies are coming here to make millions, some billions of dollars, and we get nothing? Mm-hmm. Not even employment. Because
but don't they employ people? Don't they employ a lot of people?
They do. And the majority of them are illegal. And I know because I've worked on the set. And I also know because I called immigration.
And did immigration deal with it?
They came. You know, a lot of people were running in the bushes and throughout the villas, running away. No one was captured. No one was arrested. No citations were given. No fines were given. Nothing was shut down. And the only thing that came out of that call was that I lost my job.
Oh.
Because something that should have been confidential was not confidential.
Because you reported...
I made a telephone call and reported it. And when I saw nothing had been done and illegals were still working on a daily basis, I called into our local MPs and ministers. And my understanding is that it was put in the minister's chat. Well, the lady that was in charge let me know that she was notified that it was me that called immigration and how disappointed she was.
Wow.
Who works for T&P Consultants, which is my company, whose work permit has been canceled in writing into immigration more than 3 weeks ago, and I believe she's still living here on island and working. Even though I've reported it and asked for her to be removed because she broke our immigration laws. And I say she broke our immigration laws because when I saw the illegals on site, I said to Donna, I have an issue with this. These people can't work here. I don't understand what the problem is. They're just trying to make money. And when I spoke with her one-on-one, I asked her, I said, listen, you're from Alabama. If I showed up to a site in Alabama with 55 Mexicans on the back of a truck, would you be okay with that? She couldn't answer me because she wouldn't be okay with that. When I went to the local producer and I said, hey, these people are illegal. They're working on our site. This is not okay. She said, I don't understand what the problem is. They're just trying to make a living. I said, you're from England. You deport millions of Africans and other nations every day for working illegally in your country. Why is it okay here in Turks and Caicos? Why?
I mean, any company that hires illegals, their business should not even continue.
Their business should not continue.
They should be fined.
There's fines in place. I think of some $25,000. Yeah. I own an immigration consultancy company. The last thing I needed was someone to say that I was encouraging illegal immigrants to be working at our site. But to go deeper than that, these people are only here for a season, right? And then they leave. This was filmed up at Triton Villas. We don't know who the illegal Haitians are in this country. It's so out of control. People have broken out of the jails in Haiti. I'm sure plenty of them are here now. So now when they leave, and these Haitians have now had access to these people's villa to be able to scope out.
Is it just the Haitians that are illegal or the other illegals?
There were Americans that was illegal because in this
just
country,
clarify that.
If you don't have a work permit to work for a specific company, then you're working illegally. That's illegal. For Drexel Seymour to work for Petula, Petula has to hold Drexel's work permit. And if Drexel's endorsed on his wife's work permit without the right to work, then Drexel cannot work.
No, it's right.
It's illegal.
You need a work permit to work.
Yes. So why is it a problem, or why would someone of authority, because only someone of authority could have leaked that information to Miss Donna Davis. Every time we have illegal sloops or illegal immigrants in this country arrested and so forth, there's a disclaimer put out by the police and immigration. If you have information, please give it. It's confidential. Where's the confidentiality? I lost $18,000 this year in income because they didn't fire me. They didn't give me a letter and fire me. They just took me out of the group chat and took me off the schedule.
Did you have a contract?
I wouldn't say, because we've never worked with a contract. But I did have an agreement that is in writing. Through WhatsApp, Donna said to me, please send me your availability. How can you work? Can I schedule you 5 days a week from October the 12th to December 14th? Yes, I can work 6 days a week, was my reply. She said, okay, no problem, done. So yes, there was an agreement.
So what do you think, Dan? What do you recommend going forward? How do we need to deal with these type of issues?
Well, we have two issues. Number one, I don't think it's made abundantly clear what is expected of companies that are coming to our shores. That needs to be clear and concise. A plan needs to be made for that. But number two, and we have this issue almost in every department in government, compliance. Because just because you make something the law doesn't mean that people are going to comply. So who's checking? Who's the gatekeeper? Because this year, TC Invest was the gatekeepers.
Invest TCI.
Invest TCI. And I went to Invest TCI and spoke with the managers there. And I said to them, hey, wasn't a part of their agreement that locals need to be working on this set? There was only 2, 3.
Was that part of the agreement?
That was part of the agreement and it was not honored. Not with local Turks and Caicos Islanders. And that's the thing. For the last 4 seasons, and it was one of the reasons why I was happy when I said I would be in charge of local hiring, which also didn't happen. But it's always this is $225 for production assistants to work daily, which is good income for an entry-level position. But that position should be like for young people who have interest in media, interest in movie making, interest in filmmaking. I worked on your film with you. Mm-hmm. I even spoke with some of those gentlemen. They will tell you about trying to get them a job as a production assistant so that they could get some exposure, learn some things, maybe talk to the guys on set. Those are the sort of people that those positions should be for, not government officials' children, not the wealthy, their wives, their children. I have no problem with people wanting to work. However, I do have a problem with classism. I have a problem when we don't want to give Turks Islanders an opportunity for growth. Because let's say we had Turks Islanders working on that set. Then the next production company that comes, they could say, hey, I worked on for 4 seasons. I can assist you. And now this is how you gain experience. But if they don't have the opportunity, how do they gain the experience? And if our own persons that are in places of authority are not enforcing this, then what do we do? Yeah. Because I can tell you this. I want to know who's going to pay me my $18,000 I lost. You see, and in the United States, I would have very simply filed a lawsuit. But in Turks and Caicos, they always say, ain't no suit except a suit.
Oh, you can certainly try.
I intend to. You know me. I intend to. But I also intend to use the platform of journalism and speaking out to bring awareness and to push the agenda. I spoke with a friend of mine that's an attorney, and she said, the problem in Turks and Caicos, Petula. We talk about something once, and then you never hear about it again.
That is true. I mean, that is happening a lot. Yeah, we just
Blow smoke.
yeah, and then
No
we're not
fire.
consistent. We need to keep pushing it. Persistent. You got to be persistent
You have to be
until
persistent.
something happens. Even after something happens, you still continue. Still continue with it.
Because there's no reason why our local entrepreneurs, Wellington, Jaleesa Green, she's married now, but there's no reason why these people who have their own products here shouldn't have had an opportunity if those products could have been in that show. Not creating, but if that is something that you're using anyway, why not use our local brands?
Because I'm assuming that because I remember a story about some Judy situation. I'm assuming that they got Judy exemption. They got,
and she bragged about the level of duty concessions that they got. And I'm wondering, what were the duty concessions tied to? Because for me, as a Turks Islander, to get a duty concession, I gotta jump through some hoops, make application, call up, write my local congressman. I mean, you name it, you gotta do it. So I'm thinking to myself, so what did it benefit us for us to be able to give them 30% duty concession on goods or 100% duty concession on goods that were being returned to the UK? And they've gotten smart over the years, because the first year we bought a lot of stuff here in Turks and Caicos. Plugs and food and lamp fixtures and pillows and so forth and so on. And the more they taped, the more they brought in from the UK. And so even less and less and less has been used from Turks Island every year. And it's gotten cheaper and cheaper. And the only people making money from that is the production company, because Turks Islanders didn't make any money this year from that.
So where do you want to go? I know you say you want to speak about it. You want to have talk to journalism, and what else do you want to?
Well, I'm hoping.
What do you want out of this?
What
lessons you learn, and what messages you want.
Well, one lesson I learned is doesn't pay to be a whistleblower in Turks and Caicos.
So
you get punished for that. And I'll probably be blackballed for doing this in interview anyway. Thank God my company doesn't rely on local business in order to stay afloat. And that's what people are afraid of. People are afraid to speak out, because then you don't get any contracts anymore. Then people aren't going to use your business anymore. Then they're going to look for things that's wrong in your background or in your front going forward to try to victimize you and hold you down for wanting more, for wanting things to be done the right way. It's so unfair. It's so unfair, because I could have kept quiet, made my money from Netflix and Fremantle, be paid, and say nothing. But then you would say I'm not patriotic and I don't care about our country. But what does caring cost? What is the cost of caring?
If you had to do it all again, would you do it again?
It's me, yeah.
Yeah.
I would do it again. And again and again and again.
I mean, reporting it, the incident.
Absolutely, I would. But I may have gone about it a different way, maybe. Maybe I would. Maybe I would have gone about it a different way. But I still would. You know, I'll confess to something. And I have to confess to it here, because I want it to be publicly known. You know, when they were realizing that someone on site had called immigration, and I didn't know that someone had actually contacted Donna and let her know that it was me, I was trying to push the attention away from myself, so to speak, because we had, like I said, 3 other locals on site. One is an ex-police officer, one is a nurse, the other is a politician's daughter. So I'm saying, hey, it could be one of these people and so forth. And so, you know, I'm trying to take myself out of the picture because I need the money. I have a son in university in the United States. I have a special needs child at home. I can't afford to lose income. But I did that out of fear. I was scared of exactly what happened. And I don't think that any company should be able to fire you, let you go, lay you off, because you want to comply with the laws of the land. I don't think so. I mean, what do you think?
Nobody should. No, that's not grounds for firing.
It's not grounds for firing. You know, but then that speaks to something else. Because, you know, supposedly hired last season they taped 12 to 14 PAs that were local. They don't pay NIB, they don't pay NHIP, there's so many things that they don't have to do.
There's some serious allegations. Are you sure they don't pay the NIB?
I'm certain that they didn't pay mine. I'm certain that they didn't pay my daughter's. She worked with us one season. I'm certain that they didn't pay my nephew's. He worked with us one season. So, yeah, I'm certain. I'm certain. And the beauty of this is it can always be checked. Yeah. And I don't think that it's a serious allegation because no one takes it seriously. At all. Everything here to me, when it comes to people of a different culture than our own indigenous people, is very lackadaisical. It's okay.
Why do you think that?
Well, I told you I own an immigration consultancy company. I see it all the time, where expat companies have employees, they haven't renewed their work permit for years. They're just working here illegally. They haven't paid NIB or NHIP for years. So now this person has to go and need a new company. They get to start new NIB, new NHIP. I don't know what compliance.
Because I know in the past, even to get a work permit, you had to show clearance letters, but I know they discontinued that.
Why do you think they discontinued it? There's always a reason why things happen.
I don't think they should have ever discontinued that.
They did.
Yeah.
They did because you can't. I think that they should have, but it should have come along with something else. Let me explain why I say I think that they should have. You cannot hold the employee responsible for the employer not paying their fees.
And we gotta hold somebody because
I agree.
Because
the employer.
Yeah.
It's as an employer.
And that was a good way to make sure it got paid.
By holding the employee, that's like holding the child responsible.
It's not really the employee, you're holding the company's responsible for the payment.
No, that's what I'm trying to explain to you. But the employee was being punished. For example, you work for me for a year. I take your NIB and your NHIP out of your check every month. You've paid, you've been compliant. Mm-hmm. The employer never makes the payment to NHIP or NIB. He's not compliant. Somebody got to go find him. Why should my work permit not be renewed when I paid every month? It was taken out of my check. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, if it's for the same company, that's a problem.
Yeah.
If you're going to a new company, maybe, but if it's for the same company.
And well, that's what happens because no one wants to not have health insurance. So they leave that company, they look for a new employer, and now they have a new employer, but they never had insurance. So when they go to try to get PRCs 10 years later, now they can't get a letter that says that they were compliant for the 10 years because the employer did not do their job. Because the employer stole, in fact, their money. That's theft. Because if you take my money out of my check for NHIP and you don't pay my NHIP for me.
That's a violation of the law.
Yeah, that's theft. We need compliance in this country bad. Straight across the board.
Compliance need to do their job. We got the positions, we got the people who are supposed to be doing, they need to do their job.
One day, we will either get it right and fix it all or be very sorry. I hope it's the first and not the latter. Because our island is full of development.
Yeah.
There's development at every turn. And there's a lot of wealth in this country. But we are getting the crumbs that's falling off the table. And we are so happy with the crumbs, we can't even imagine what the food on the table look like.
You think we're happy with the crumbs? Or we just don't want to take a risk? Or we just comfortable with what we have?
I think that there are people in every part of that equation. There are some people that are happy with the crumbs. There are some people that are not happy with the crumbs, but afraid to stand up and fight for what they want. And then you have people that don't even know where to begin to fight. You know, in the United States, you have lawyers that take on cases and they don't get paid unless you get paid. So they don't really take your case unless they see that it's a case, a good case with that they could win. We need more of that here too, because people need somebody to fight for their rights. I know we have a labor board, but how does labor go after Fremantle and Netflix for me? They weren't even registered to labor department. They have no registration in this country. It was a temporary, and it's a temporary gig every time. They were here for 3 months, set up shop,
So
film,
how does that
and
work?
leave.
So you can come here, but
All temporary work permits.
but they should still be registered.
I don't know, maybe I gotta call Invest TCI and find out.
They should still be registered, in my opinion. Employment is taking place, there are people working. I mean, I don't know the law that well, but
Well,
I
this
would
year,
think.
they literally brought in from the UK their PAs. And I only know that because sitting in a nail salon, there's a gentleman from the UK looking for stores to purchase things that they need on set because they brought their production assistants over so that they wouldn't have to hire local. So where did we benefit, Turks and Caicos,
I hear what you're saying.
from this happening? It's happening too often.
Are you aware of other situations where this is also happening? You don't have to call the names.
Of course not. I cannot say I have been intimately involved with other situations where this has happened. I saw this firsthand. This is something I can speak to. Obviously, that I'm not afraid to speak about because I was there. I witnessed it. But if it happened there, it has to be happening somewhere else. Because there's no way someone could feel so comfortable. A family member called me, said, "Hey, didn't come anymore?" I said, "Yeah, they came. They're still here." This was in November. They said, a guy didn't take a job that was offered to him because that she had a position for him. And now she's not answering his calls. It may seem minute to someone else, but this is how people take care of their families.
Yeah.
We have to operate with at least more integrity than that. So I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know how they're gonna do it. And this will not be my last interview. But what we need to get back, Drex, is our channel. When we used to have the news on WIV.
A local channel?
A local channel. And local shows televised. Back then we had nothing to report. Now we got lots to report.
A lot.
And we have no local channel. What are we doing? What needs to be done? Because I used to have a televised talk show on WIV. I had a show called Truth Is. And I was dealing with, at that time, community issues. But we have a election season coming up. Someone needs to be able to cover that in truth. Someone needs to be, I love to tell people I'm not politically affiliated because I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not either.
I don't belong to PNP. I don't belong to PDM. So I'm able to speak candidly.
That's how it should be.
About how I feel, what I see, how I see things, And everything now just seems so driven by something else. It's like, well, if you belong to PNP, you can't say anything bad about PNP. If you belong to PDM, you can't say anything bad about PDM.
It's unfortunate.
No one is all good or all bad.
Yeah.
Let's and not to bash anyone either, but to bring awareness. How are we going to fix the problems if no one talk about what?
And that's why, that's why I write my articles and do shows, because we need to educate the public, highlight what's happening, and forget about you're going to cause the PNP or the PDM upset. So what? Speak the truth. Be objective. Don't attack people personally.
No.
But educate the public.
I'll tell you. I know firsthand that the public needs to be educated. I worked the election polls. I see that they don't understand how to fill out the ballots. We shouldn't wait until election day to try to teach them that. We should be doing more. I have this debate with one of my political friends all the time. We need to do more to get information out to the public. So many times things happen and I don't know till after it happens. Now, I'm not a big social media person at all. My presence on social media is minimal. However, I'm certain that there are people who are even less present than I am. How are we communicating to them? How are we getting information to them?
There is a breakdown of communication.
There's a breakdown of communication. And no one wants to admit it because no one wants to take responsibility. There's a lack of responsibility and accountability across the board when it comes to certain areas here in Turks and Caicos. And I don't know when we're going to understand that taking accountability is not saying that you're wrong. It's saying I need to do better.
And you learn from it too, you learn from it and, Well, Petula, do you have anything else you want to say before we... I
want to say thank you. Thank you for allowing me this time. Thank you for not being afraid to allow me this time. I know how touchy people are when it comes to speaking out on any issue in Turks and Caicos, and how afraid they are of the backlash of things. So I appreciate it.
Sure, you're welcome, and thank you for being on the show. And I just want to put a disclaimer that these views expressed are your views.
Absolutely.
It's not the views of mine or the show.
Yes.
These are your views, and based on your experience. I allow you to be on the show to talk about your experience. And I believe there are a lot of people out there who have similar experience, and they're probably afraid to speak out. They are depending on that for survival. But you have an opportunity to speak out. I believe that there are many ways of avenues for you to get things done, and you should try. Don't stay quiet.
No.
Speak up, and this is the season, and this is to show to empower you, to inspire you. And I hope you are inspired. I hope you're now geared up to speak out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Provide all your needs. He wants you to succeed. Have faith of a mustard seed. Get up on your feet.